Hi, just wanted to talk about the iPads and how I've been using them in school, and how they're making an impact on the students' learning. One of the things that I always felt that when introducing iPads to school was to use them to underpin current practice and to develop things, rather than just become a replacement for pen and paper. And so I started to think about what we do and how these iPads could make a difference, and came up with the idea of three things: communication, creativity, and collaboration as things that the iPad could really help with. So that's what I'm going to sort of go through today, and just a couple of the apps that have really helped. First of all, communicate. One thing that the iPad can really do is take your lesson from timetabled hour and a half with students and make that into a lot longer, and take that outside of the classroom experience, so that learning is 24 hours really, so it's not just confined within the four walls of the class. And there's lots of apps that can help with this. This app here is called Edmodo. As you can see, it's very much like Facebook and is used in lots of ways. It's got lots of uses, primarily being communication. So between students and myself, I can set up groups. I can communicate with them and tell them when I might want homework in, or to give them a piece of reading for the next lesson, to track their coursework that they're doing, give them feedback on coursework that they've done. Really powerful, really useful tool. Twitter, everyone's aware of Twitter these days, and one thing that Twitter sort of provides to students is to generate themselves a very positive digital footprint. Lots of people find out about people these days via the things that they put about themselves in social networks, and it's important that students are aware that you can create a positive and a negative here, and by teaching students about its use, hopefully they will provide a positive. This example here, for instance, is me using Twitter to speak to a sports development officer in Guernsey, as part of learning for my students on their sports development module in BTEC. Just one of many uses that you can use Twitter in the classroom. This is about feedback to students. This is using Google Drive and the Google Docs platform. It's instant. It goes straight back to the students. As soon as I write their feedback, they can access it straight away and act upon it. So hopefully the whole process of giving instant feedback on work should generate better levels from the students. This is a similar thing. This is just their tracking, so through the same system using Google Drive and Google Docs. So the next area then is collaboration. Collaboration really important for students in schools, and we want them to be independent learners and independent thinkers. We also want them to understand how linking with other people and developing ideas within groups can lead to really positive things. And again, the iPad sort of helps enable this to a great effect. This is an app called Book Creator, and it's electronic books. It's the norm of writing books in paper and using pen, and that being stuck as a solid sort of two-dimensional thing is being changed now, where you can have books which have got videos in and audio in and pictures, and as well as the written word. So from a collaboration point of view, you can give this to students, get them to research something, go off and then come back with their own elements, and then store it all in one place. This is huge because it gives them something to show off at the end, something to be proud of, that they've created something that they've done together. This is a similar thing. This is called Explain Everything. It's an interactive whiteboard to all intents, and just enables them as a group to sort of put all of their ideas down in one place and be able to track that back at a later date. They can import pictures again, they can import things from the internet, but it's just a place where they can store all of those ideas. But again, rather than staying on a piece of paper that might then need to be photocopied so each member of the group can take it, they can just be instantly shared out to each member of the group, and they can review it in their own time, and it's almost a live recording of everything that took place, because you can record the voice as well. This is Dropbox. Lots of people are sort of getting involved in now, but I wanted to show this as an example of how collaboration has grown. So this PE Geeks Dropbox is a collaboration across the whole world of different PE teachers sharing their ideas, sharing their resources. And again, take that down to a student level, that idea of sharing and developing and snowballing people's ideas and all of that. Hugely powerful stuff. And Evernote is just a simple note-taking app really, but again, from a collaboration point of view, because you can share what you've created and share it with other people, it just builds that sense of collaboration across classes and across other schools as well. So finally, and possibly the most important, is the creativity. I think the most powerful thing that we can do with students now is not just give them the knowledge, but give them the power to use that knowledge for something, to be able to create something from that information that they've now gained, and what are they going to do with that information. And I've seen lots of students flourish under using iPads that might not have before, because all of a sudden now they've got a purpose in what they're doing. They've got a way to present their information which is interesting to them and gives them an audience, which means it's seen by more than just the teacher. They're not just doing it as a product of a piece of coursework or something. It's now something that has a place in the real world. It can be viewed by more people than just classmates and the teacher. So this is Simple Minds. This is just an app for brainstorming. As you can see, it's just putting down your ideas, but also because it looks quite visual, it's a nice way to then present that information back. This is what I've learned. These are the things that link up together. You can move all of the different sort of spider legs around and group things together, and it's just quite a nice way for people to present their thinking. This is called Comic Life. This is really good for students, because they feel that they're just creating a comic book at the end of it. It's nice and playful looking, it's colourful, it's speech bubbles and everything. There's still lots of literacy going on in here, but it's quite fun to build, and it's quite nice to look at the end. Again, it's that idea that I've created something and I'm proud of it. This is Puppet Pals. This is nice to play with. It's fundamentally, it's just my voice recording animating things. So the example here was our students, what would these two people say if they came face to face? Bradley Wiggins and Lance Armstrong, what conversation would they have? Now, rather than writing that down, they just voice it. So they have the conversation, record the voice, and then you play it back as if it was an animated piece of work. This is nice. This is a way that students can take their learning from one area to another. So a piece of work done in sport put in to explain everything that I showed you before, and students can then talk about this then perhaps in their English lesson or in a science lesson, talking about angles of release or anything. But it's that idea that the learning they took from one subject goes to another subject, and they can still use that learning. So something that inspired them earlier in the day can be used later in the day in a different subject. And finally, this is Zapped. This is a simple web building app, and again, rather than it just being written word, it's a way that they can just display their learning in a different way. They can change the colours, the formats, and students just quite like the use of it. You can put internet links on it which back up your arguments, and it formulates it in a way which looks nice, and it's accessible on the internet. So that's it really. That's the idea, the creativity, the collaboration and communication, along with the apps which kind of underpin that.